Hey, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts and you're catching the daily energy stroke tarot reading where I combine what I do, the energy work and the tarot work that I do to bring narrative to help guide you on your highest potentials of any given day, recognizing the energies within you, around you and within others. So take what resonates as it is general and leave what does not. No offense will be taken, but please leave a comment if you feel you can do so, because I love hearing from you and I know you all love hearing from each other. So it all works well. So this is for the 5th of April 2021. Let's see. We've got on the bottom of the deck, we've got the Lovers card, number 6, Major Arcana. This is asking us to make a major decision in our lives. It's asking us to recognize the makeup of the powers that we have within us, within our divinities, our divine masculine, our divine feminine, and being able to use those two parts of our inner being to make decisions, to take actions, to use intuition, to stand ground, to be in the flow of emotion, and also be in a well-balanced reactionary state of the masculine, and to be able to utilize those as and when needed, and to have it in such inner knowing within self that we just can do it as easily as the brain sends a signal to the hand to pick up an object that you intend to pick up. To be in that much connection with self, that these two divinities, these two powers that we have within us, meld and mold between each other and are a part of us, rather than us having our divinity so suppressed that others outside of us make decisions for us, even when it looks like they're not, even when it's giving us the illusion of the freedom of choice, when in fact they're using powers, whether that's in your individual life, the people around you, or from the corporate world around us, which includes the corporations, the governments and the religious sectors, including the secret societies alike. Whether it's them actually giving us the illusion of choice, but actually because we are not in such connection with our divinities, they have us in a reactionary state that they can pretty much predict really, really well at this point. So it's about making major decisions and being able to recognize all of this in doing so. To be working out our divinities, to be using them to a point where they do become a power, a part of our being that is recognized and exalted from within, to have an effect on the decisions that we make that affect our reality that we're in on the outside of our within. And so this is where this is a deep card, in that yes, you can say, major decisions to be made, blah blah blah. When it's about more than that, we really do at this point need to be questioning, well, have we been digging deep enough as individuals, and have we been digging deep enough for sure as the masses? Because, as we see ourselves today, in the state that we are in today, being governed by psychopaths that, in my opinion, have been well and truly taken over to a point where it is for the most part malevolent, why it would show that we have not been doing so enough, because of the place we are at today, because of where we are at today. I had a conversation with a dear friend today, and just having the like mind of being able to process this and being able to be honest being honest is very integral with this 6, this major arcana, the makeup of the man, the makeup of the woman, the major decisions to be made. Because at certain points in our history, we can look back, but we're always looking back without comparing that to the present of where we are at right now. And right now, we look back, and we are even looking back in our history through veiled, indoctrinated, for a main part, lying historical veil. We're looking through a very manipulated, very convoluted historical lens. And so even that, we are looking back. It gets harder as the generations go down. It gets harder to see where things have gone wrong, where we need to take back ground as a collective and as individuals. It gets harder and harder to see which road was taken. Where did things start to occur that lead us to the present that we're in now? And so this is what we need to get to grips with doing in a very deep and meaningful way, but most of all, very honest way, to be able to really truly see where we are at now in our present, as to how we got here. And in your individual lives, it is about doing this more so today. Where in your individual life did certain roads take a certain direction? What decision is it that you need to make to harness more power for yourself and the reality that you find yourself in? Where did you not take those decisions or make those decisions? And do you really know your divinities within? Do you really know how to use them without even thinking? Almost like just second nature, that's the word. So on the bottom of the other deck, we have the Page of Coins. And so this is speaking about having a earnestness for creating a certain reality, an earnestness for wanting to learn, wanting to research, wanting to have your foot on the ground. There's a naivety here, though. There's a naivety here regarding still, no matter how much has been shown, that a certain kind of maturity has not been reached. There's still the next trick. Can very easily take this page today down the wrong road, down the wrong avenue, further away from where is needed to be. Baby, you should be asleep. Your decision should have been to sleep. Well, you'll have to wait because Mommy's working. And so this is the Empress card as the next reading. Sorry, serious Mommy moment. So the Empress is, again, a major arcana, number 3. And so we see that the 3 being very integral to the 6, exactly half, decisions and knowing the divinity within. This would be a source of power to manifest the reality that you're in. So the Empress card being the thoughts, words, and action create your reality. But from what basis are we doing that in our individual lives and as the masses? From what basis are we really being, 1, strategic, and 2, very mature about what we allow to seep through our being or our makeup without thinking? Are we being very precise about the divinity of self regarding what we allow ourselves to hear, what we allow ourselves to be shown, made to think, easily coerced to think? It feels like there's a lot of coercion today in particular. Now that seems mundane to be saying at this point for me, because I get a bit of a shock at to how obvious things are, about how obvious it is that even if this reality is not completely made up of a simulation, which I tend towards the fact of a simulation would feel like, again, we're indoctrinated to think that a simulation would be a little bit like the games that we see on the screen today. Yes, it might be a very complex simulation. For sure, we know that thoughts create things. For sure, we know that thoughts create energies that go out there to then create things, even down to people having ideas for something. Somebody having an idea about a chair, and then somebody who I find awesome having an idea about growing a chair. So he'll take your design and grow a live chair, bending the trees around into the shape, and then just cutting it out when it's grown. Those ideas were ideas at first that then, through thought form, through words, through speaking it out, breathing it out, became a physical thing that we can use, see, feel, smell today. So how much of our thoughts are our own? And this is a real question for today, in that how much of our thoughts really are our own? And even if they're not our own, how much of them would resonate with our highest dreams of the essence that we are, of who we would like to be, who we feel we are in our upper self? And how much of them actually resonate with what would seem like our lower self? But our lower self, not in the sense of our root chakra, which actually is to know thyself. It is the foundation of self. What is our foundation is what I'm getting at. And how much of that have we even begun to discover? And how much of that, and how many of us have even begun to rediscover that, of what our true essence is, what our true self is, what we are, what this is. So to really strip that bare, like this Lover's card, where the two depictions of the divinities are naked, they're bare, there's nothing covering them. How much of that is the fact that we, how much of that is that we, how do I put this into words? Because it's difficult without, I feel, triggering people. But then at the same time, if I'm triggering, then good, because then that means there's something to really dig down deep into. Be really thoughtful and mindful about having your highest thoughts. Be really thoughtful and mindful about allowing what thoughts or thought forms of others you allow into your sphere in general, but in particularly today. Let's have an experiment of seeing when we truly are sovereign and divine. Let's have an experiment to see if we can actually create the reality we're thinking of. Because right now, if we are, as the masses, if we are creating the reality that we're thinking of, we're not doing so great in our individual lives. And I'm speaking to myself too. In our individual lives, what is not working? What is really a struggle? What is not really lining up with what our highest aspirations would be? What our highest dreams would be? What our upper selves would would want for us. So which part of self are we resonating with and allowing to think for us as a whole, as a body? And just like ourselves as a being, as an individual, in the masses, what aspect, what level of self as a collective body are we allowing to think predominantly? Now, as on the so-called powers that be point of view, the collective stage, let's say, is it not time that we stop being tricked by the systems, by the veils of politics, organized religion, law even, because they don't seem to be representing a very high frequency of the whole body. They seem to be really hooked into and resonating with the lower aspects of us, because we're still allowing them to be in power. And it might seem very overwhelming to pose these questions to ourselves honestly, stripped bare. And it might seem really overwhelming, and to the look of it, it might seem like we've gone too far down the road. And maybe in certain aspects for a good while we have. But 1 second, baby.
I just really want to sleep a little bit now.
Okay, wait 1 second. I'm just going to push on with this reading, if you don't mind, beautiful people, because I find it important. So bear with me and Theodore. But I'm sure our loved ones that lived through World War One, World War Two, and the times similar to that before that, and felt they had no power, no hope. I'm sure there were many of us like us sitting there aware and alert to a great extent and thinking, yeah, but there's only us. There's some things, some decisions that we need to be making in our individual lives. There's some, through those decisions, through those realizations and revelations after those decisions, there's some keys that we need to find to turn this ship around, to get a hold of this ship and to have the systems and ways of living support us and be in much more harmony with us, rather than actually like the governments, like the organized religions, like the corporations, having them almost infect us, to be the fungus on the body that feeds off the body, rather than the body feeding off the fungus, you know, the healthy fungi, you know, being able to use that. So I hope that makes sense as to what I was trying to say there. Now, we've got the Temperance card to clarify the Empress card. So another major arcana, and so this is speaking about number 14, sorry. So this is speaking about finding a way to really start to get to grips with what we have had hidden from us. And this is energy transference. This is what I've seen, what I've put out in various writing on the wall videos of the so-called powers that be, the very deep, deep parts of that, and secret societies, knowing that we are that we transfer energy in brilliant and wonderful ways, and we do this very much so under the spectrum of light, that we transfer frequencies all the time, and that the powers that we have to propel machines with bodily organs that are put out there in certain remote viewing videos, is that we need to start to dig down deep and really understand this. I feel this is one of the keys that would really help turn this ship around when we learn how to project energy en masse, when we learn how to transmute our own energies. One, because we won't be hinged over, held over by trigger points by those that say they serve us and they don't. And two, we won't even have ourselves held over our own barrels via trigger points, via wounds, because we will be able to transfer this energy, heal both physically and emotionally, heal individually and as the masses. So there's information there that I feel is coming to light in various thought forms through various different people, and hopefully I'm one of them. To learn how to absorb light actively, to learn how to transmute that light actively, to learn how to absolutely change frequency through our auric field, to project. We are being attacked by frequency each and every day, all of the time. For us to be able to take that attack and transmute that and project that out, not just as the odd individual. I do work with energy. I do help others work with their own energy, and I see it work. I know it works. But we need to be doing this as, again, second nature, as a part of us, because we're doing it all of the time anyway, automatically. But what we are doing automatically without thought is absorbing frequency that has been convoluted with intent, and it's for negative intent. It's for a purpose of control. It's of a purpose of wounding, of hurting. And so we go on to the next card, and it's the Emperor, number 4, major arcana. So we go from the Empress, to the Emperor. So we have the depictions again of the divine feminine, divine masculine in the most exalted state. And so this Emperor card is speaking to the action of the divine feminine, which is of the subconscious, which is of the intuition, which is of the emotion, the flow. We have Emperor who is resolved and resolute in the foundation that he works from and sits upon, that throne, that square. The way that this masculine energy organizes his reality and takes absolute authority over it, that takes absolute authority over his own life and for those in his care. And so this is where we have the combination of this divine feminine, divine masculine working together, as I said at the start of this reading, through second nature, just being so used to going in and out of both states of divinity, and even simultaneously projecting from both states of divinity to take real authority over your individual life. We see here that the thoughts and but the thoughts and words, and through your thoughts, words, what am I trying to say here? We see here that from the collective stage and from a lot of people's individual lives, we are feeling the huge impact of allowing the Empress, the divine feminine, to be infiltrated by thoughts that are not necessarily that of which that person would naturally have. And so there we have the Emperor sitting firm over us, creating the reality from from the outside. That Theodore Roberts, I'm getting through this reading. So we have the authority that is hanging over us, that is basically not of our own foundation. And then we are feeling the impact of such when we are having that authority even take the foundations that the Empress has been living upon for so long now away from under our feet, but from beneath our feet. So the Six of Wands clarifies the Emperor card, and this speaks to there's a victory. Now, unfortunately, for some of you, and this is brilliant for some of you in your individual lives, there's some kind of victory today that shows you that I'm speaking truth in this reading, that you've taken that authority over those thoughts. You've taken that authority over using your own intuition, using your own feminine attributes, whether you're male or female, going with your gut intuition, having the foresight to do so without having to have it written down point by point to give you the power to do that. You see some kind of victory today, which really emboldens, and the divine feminine is the supportive substance that supports the divine masculine within. And so from taking the standpoint of that, from using your divine feminine, before you've even got the proofs that this is what you should do, even when everything on the outside was saying, no, 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 you shouldn't, you've went and done something through your foresight, through your intuition, that gives your divine masculine basically oil on his beard today to say, yeah, now we're sitting on firmer foundations. So there's that individual victory. But from the collective stage, it feels like, particularly in the US, a certain law gets passed, or a certain law that is being toyed with gets into the next stage of being passed. And certainly within the UK, simultaneously, a law that is being toyed with gets passed, and it's again taking the divine feminine within people, within people's individuality or rights to individuality. It's taking the divine feminine out from the knees, out at the knees. And so, and this is showing that this is depictive of the reality that we've been living under for so long, this hijack of the divine feminine, where the divine feminine has been so downtrodden and so misrepresented and unheard. Again, the divine feminine, those of you in your individual lives who've been using your divine feminine, you see the manifestation of that victory today, and the divine masculine being emboldened by being able to then act upon firmer foundations, firmer grounds. But as the masses, I feel again, it is a case of we see the divine masculine being reactionary to victories that have been won over the people, if that makes sense. So I feel particularly in the UK, things being in mainstream media where fights have broken out, police have gotten involved, that kind of thing being manifest, again, stomping down the foot of that not so divine masculine energy, that the authority, the strong arm of the government. So we have the Knight of Swords as the next card, and this is speaking to hard truths coming in thick and fast, and it just really feels like there's a lot of blunt force to the realization, the dawning of where we are and how far we've allowed things to go, both in our individual lives and as the masses. And so for those of you that are gaining in this victory, for those of you that are having this victory within this sphere, within using your divine feminine and having your divine masculine emboldened by that for the result that is coming in for you. Theodore, stop. You've just nearly broken the computer. Look, you're twisting round on the wire. Now stop it. No, Mommy needs to be strict. You should have been asleep hours ago. So the Knight of Swords, then is emboldening that, but for many, and even for you that are looking from your very beautiful and firm foundation, which, you know, good, so you should, there's still the dawning of, wow, this is where we are at. This is, and it's a lot to do with these laws getting passed. It's a lot to do with authorities showing their heavy hand, their heavy foot around the globe, to be honest, but particularly in the US and UK, Canada also. And this is where we go back to that raw, bare truth of really contemplating, okay, so where do we go from here? What decision do we make here from our divinity? The Two of Pentacles clarifies this Knight of Swords. And so this speaks of, it's kept coming up, this separation, the two worlds, and that this is really representative of those who are very much in connection with the divinities, those who are very much in connection with knowing themselves and the seeing and the witnessing of within the same realm, but a subsect of people that are not and reactionary to the authorities, both either doing as they are told blindly or being in a reactionary state that actually plays into their hands. And also simultaneously, even within those that are in connection with themselves and with their divinities, still this separation of this secret world that we should know innately, because they are the ones that are making the rules. They are the ones that are controlling what goes on in this reality so much. Yes, yet there is no transparency. So it is a world that, you know, is may as well be Mars. It may as well be Mars, because we are it's so hidden from us. It's so convoluted. We're so disconnected from it. We have no power over it, it seems. Yet conversely, this separate world that is of this realm, this separate world that is of our world, is in absolute power of being able to see us absolutely transparently. So there's an imbalance here. And like any time the Two of Pentacles comes up, it is the juggling card. There's a time span as to how long we go on through this transition. And now, do we transition then from taking power back in our individual lives and en masse, where we put our full force into creating the world by drawing that world down to our feet and demanding the transparency and demanding a different way? Or does the other pentacle get dropped? And is that more and more of the freedoms, more and more of the rights, to a point where even those who are very awake and very aware and very much in connection to their divinity, being a numbers game, have to also conform even more so to this hidden world, this Mars on our plane? So I'm really sorry about Theodore. I am going to be brave and just put this video out, because it was a very important message. I feel it, you know, from my spirit, from my being, from everything that is psychic within me. This is a very, very intense message, and maybe not so fun message. You know, maybe it's making me laugh a little bit right now, and I'm coming across such vague things that are being put out there that aren't being of service to the times that we're in and to the sphere of work that I do. And so I need to follow my spirit. I need to follow my psychic intuition, my insight, and the cards and the energies that come with the day, truly, in order to be of full service to those that I love, to those that have the beautiful intent to listen to what I have to say and to gain from that and let me know when they do. So I am going to be brave enough, all that being said, to put this out, but I do apologize for the disturbance and being strict with Theodore because his sleep routine is getting way out of whack. So we're having to be strict. So, but at the same time, thank you for putting up with the beautiful and adorable yet disturbant Theodore. And I'm, you know, it's not a, oh, you know, love and light message. It's not a happy message, but it's a truthful one. It's an honest one. And it is a very important one as to, I feel the pressures as I'm reading it, which is why I'm going to continue to let it go out. I feel the pressures of the likes of my granddad and the way he must have felt when he had his eyes open and so many had their eyes shut. And the decisions that they made and either didn't make, him and those are like him, and how many others didn't make those decisions with them. And I feel we're at that point, and we've been at that point for a long time now, but for a flash in the eye as to how things are, you know, in the infinite. And so we can change things quickly, but we have to get real serious about it, because those that are in control right now, the shadows, those that are puppeting the people who are throwing down the decrees, they're real serious. They're really planned out. And I'm going to come at you tomorrow with some more information to show just how planned out they are, just how much intent, how much planning, how much focus, how much magic they put out in order to be where they are at and do what they are doing. So check that out when that comes out. I appreciate you all. Much love. Stay balanced and stay whole. Mwah. Theodore Roberts. Ay, 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 ay. What happened to this?